Now, the Bank of Ghana has given assurance that it will manage the exchange rate regime to help strengthen the cedi against the dollar as the year comes to an end. In the last quarter of the year, most businesses import goods ahead of the festive season in December. The period normally experiences large outflow of foreign currencies as imports increase. But assuring the business community of a stable local currency, Dr. Addison said the central bank will work to protect the cedi from depreciating.
I know every Ghanaian has suffered from the very sharp depreciation of the currency, which has impacted lives, raised the cost of living. And we are looking forward to being able to minimize the impact of the depreciation of the currency on the standard of living of Ghanaians. And this particular flow would help us very much in achieving that objective.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison there. Now, away from that, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has described initial negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a bailout program as collaborative. According to him, the government is discussing debt restructuring plans with the fund to improve the country's credit ratings. Here's a report.
An IMF team arrived in Ghana in the last week of September 2022 to commence official discussions with government on a possible debt restructuring. Speaking at the signing of a $1.13 billion cocoa syndicated loan in Accra, Mr. Ofori-Atta announced that a government team will meet the IMF in Washington, D.C. in the coming weekend to continue the negotiations. He expressed optimism that government will sign a program that will help stabilize the economy and improve the country's balance of payment.
But we are very confident that the discussions that we are having with the fund will put us in the right landing zone. As we speak, we are in discussions, negotiations, and the bank and the ministry would go to Washington at the end of the week to continue with these discussions. So far, discussions have been very collaborative. I think we are getting to the point of understanding our debt sustainability numbers, and will come through with, I believe, what may be termed as an historic resolution to this as a demonstration to other countries on the continent.
Mr. Ofori-Atta reiterated that the ultimate aim of government in the negotiations is to protect Ghanaians from the negative impact of recent global challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, is hopeful the $750 million Afri-Exim Bank loan and the cocoa syndicated funds will help strengthen the local currency.
We were all very concerned about the outlook for foreign exchange receipts and payments. There were two particular flows which we were looking forward to. The first one being the Afri-Exim loan of $750 million, and the second one, the cocoa syndication of $1.3 million. Today, both flows have materialized. And I think it gives a great reason to be optimistic about the outlook for the Ghanaian economy. We are very proud of the team at the Cocoa Board who have worked very hard in spite of the circumstances to bring us to this point.
Now, government intends to leverage the current discovery of mineral resources, litmus, in parts of the country for the manufacturing of solar batteries. This is to help the country take advantage of the move towards renewable energy. Deputy Minister for Energy, Andrew Ejapamensah, hinted that this is part of the development agenda by the government towards energy transition. Ejapamensah was speaking at the Africa Energy Conference 2022, organized by the Business and Financial Times.
The Africa Energy Conference 2022, under the theme Africa's Energy Future, Achieving Competitiveness and Sustainability to Support the Continent's Development Ambitions, is an avenue for stakeholders to deliberate on opportunities in the energy transition journey. Ghana's discovery of lithium is set to present another opportunity for the country to produce renewable equipment for the African market. According to Deputy Energy Minister Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, government plans to use the resources to support the manufacturing of solar batteries locally.
The opportunity for industrial and commercial ventures into the renewable market has a potential for revenue generation, job creation, and energy security enhancement. Ghana's recent discovery of high-grade lithium is an achievement the government intends to leverage on in exploring the real possibility of manufacturing solar batteries locally. The naturally occurring sunshine has also become a commodity which African countries must position themselves to fully harness.
Senior trade expert at the Continental Free Trade Secretariat, Desire Lumu, told the gathering that the energy market in Africa is ripe for investment opportunities.
Increased industrial production means increased industrial electricity demand. The African continent's exports have averaged about 75% on processed primary commodities and solid mineral since 2007, and 40% of intra-Africa export are manufacturing commodities. Currently, around 70% of value addition of African commodity export occurs outside the continent. Increased intra-Africa trade will boost domestic manufacturing demand and demand for productive power as a result.
Chief Executive for the Business and Financial Times, Dr. Godwin Akwe, explains that the conference has scaled up to cover the African region with the onset of the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Now, government has indicated that it is ready to engage various stakeholders in the private sector within the liquefied petroleum gas industry to scale up its rural LPG promotion program. According to Minister of Energy Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, constructive dialogue is necessary to sustain the program and support its purpose of reducing the consumption of firewood in rural areas. He was speaking at the 3rd West Africa LPG Expo.
The Rural Liquefied Petroleum Gas Promotion Program aims at encouraging rural folks to switch off from wood fuel to LPG for cooking and other purposes. According to Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, government is bent on achieving the needed results.
The ministry is partnering with the World Bank Group to support and scale up the program, and we are open to other nations in supporting us to achieve our 50% agenda. The ministry has constituted a steering committee for LPG for Development program to coordinate and provide direction for the implementation of the CRM and the LPG promotion program. Utilization of LPG as a household fuel has been expanded in several West African countries since the early 1990s, but the average per capita consumption in the region remains low by international standards.
Chief Executive Officer for the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, called for a collective effort to address challenges confronting the LPG industry in Ghana.
I therefore call on all of us to be vigilant in helping all of us to stamp out these practices and to promote the use of safe LPG. To remedy the situation, the government of Ghana in October 2017 launched the National LPG Promotion Policy with the objective of ensuring that at least 50% of Ghanaians have access to LPG for domestic, commercial, and industrial use by 2030. The policy is to be driven by the new marketing and distribution model, which we call the cylinder recirculation model.
The 3rd West African LPG Expo is designed to create a platform for the local and international LPG community to gather, network, and discuss various issues in West Africa, and also create new business opportunities in the region.
Moving on, more oil marketing companies are adjusting prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Now, this in line with a 2-week review of prices on the global market. Most of the major oil marketing companies have reduced the price of diesel but have increased the price of petrol. However, some consumers have raised concerns about the mixed price review. Michael Bozumbil is chief executive of the oil marketing firm Petrosol.
The products do not just travel from the international market to the pump, and being sold to the Ghanaian consumer in dollars. So even though the prices may drop, on the international market in dollar terms, if you are now exchanging it to cedis, and the cedi hasn't remained the same, it means that could affect the local pricing. So usually when the increase in the international price is significant enough to wipe off the cedi depreciation, that is when you see the reduction reflecting on the local market. And as I said, in the case of diesel, because the reduction in the diesel prices on the international market was significant, and so that led to prices reducing on the local market. However, in the case of petrol, where the reduction was very minimal, and then the cedi also depreciated, so the rate of depreciation was even much more than the reduction in the price on the international market. We have kept faith with the consumer. Whenever prices have to go down, we've passed that to the consumer by reducing prices. When legitimately prices have to go up, we do so. In fact, there is one thing that we don't talk about. So mostly we concentrate on the international price and then also the cedi exchange rate. But there's also the element of the cost of doing business in terms of the working capital. So for instance, if you look at the beginning of the year where the prices were, and now, we need more than twice the working capital we're using to do our business. But we have tried as much as possible to even maintain our margins so that the cost does not pass on to the consumer. And I'm speaking in respect of petrol.
You're still watching Prime Business here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broohm. Now, away from that, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is enforcing the joint framework for action signed in 2017 with 36 cocoa and chocolate producing companies to halt deforestation and degradation of the forest in the cocoa value chain. This is under the Cocoa and Forest Initiative, CFI, to ensure cocoa lands are not taken over for illegal mining activities. Speaking at the 2022 Orange Cocoa Day, the Sector Minister Samuel Abujinapo said the government is stepping up education and sensitization, urging traditional and local authorities, farmers and members of the local community to rally behind the government. Here's a report.
Launching the 2022 Orange Cocoa Day, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo expressed disgust at people selling their cocoa farms to illegal miners without thinking about the long-term effect of their actions on the environment. He, however, said government is encouraging farmers to plant at least 18 trees per hectare in their cocoa farms. This program, together with other initiatives being implemented by Ghana Cocoa Board, he believes will contribute immensely to reducing the expansion of cocoa farmers into forest frontiers.
There are several other initiatives being implemented by the government to address deforestation and forest degradation and contribute to global efforts at halting climate change, such as the Green Ghana Day, the Ghana Shared Landscape Emission Reduction Program, the Forest Initiative Program, the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, and the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, through which we seek to reclaim degraded mined-out lands. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is disheartening that while we are taking all these measures, people are selling their cocoa farms to illegal miners without thinking about the long-term effect of their actions on the environment. This is a matter we must deal with, which we are fully committed to, but we need the cooperation of all. We must step up education and sensitization and get everyone, traditional and local authorities, farmers and members of the local community, to rally behind us. The climate crisis is reaching a tipping point, and sustainability in the cocoa value chain, from cultivation to consumption, is crucial to our quest to fight climate change. We need our cocoa and we need our forests. The two are not mutually exclusive, but can sustainably coexist to support global climate action.
The representative of the European Union, Celine Matson, expressed worry about the largely poorly regulated cocoa farming and production of cocoa beans in Ghana. She's, however, confident the new regulation of the industry will reduce deforestation and forest degradation.
To reduce deforestation and forest degradation that is caused by European consumption and production, and consequently reduce carbon emission and biodiversity loss caused by the European Union. So the regulation applies not only to cocoa, as my ambassador said earlier, but 6 different commodities. So we have palm oil, we have soya, wood, coffee, beef, and then cocoa. And of course derived products, including chocolate. So that little graph here gives you an idea of the different commodities we looked into in order to select the one that produced the most deforestation.
Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa in the world.
Moving on, management of GCB Bank PLC says it is committed to providing competitive and affordable credit to its customers in a bid to cushion them in the wake of the current economic situation in the country. According to the managing director of the GCB Bank, Kofi Adumako, providing a conducive environment for individuals and businesses is one of the bank's key functions, hence will not relent on its mandate to provide cheaper and affordable credit to its customers. Kofi Adumako gave this assurance after interacting with staff and customers of the bank as part of this year's Customer Service Week celebration.
It's not a time when banks can afford to lend below a certain rates. I mean, we are in business to serve our customers, but we must also remain profitable. So we are a bank, we move in tandem with the rates are going up, so our rates go up. But we are also very mindful, about our customers and how much they can contain in terms of increasing interest rates. So we are mindful of that. If you check on the market today, you did a survey, you'll find out that we are the most economically competitively priced business today in terms of loans we give our customers. Many banks are much higher than GCB today, and so we are mindful of that. The greatest thing that we do is to make sure that there's value in the service that we give. Customers are prepared to pay, but it's the value that they get out of the service. So we are mindful of difficult times. We have a role to play in ensuring that we return to normalcy, and GCB will definitely do that. Okay.
Now, brand managers, advertisers, and marketers have been advised to imbibe discipline in their field of work in order to remain relevant in the advertising space. According to the president and chairman of the International Advertising Association, Joel Nete, COVID-19 has taught businesses great lessons, hence maintaining a reputable brand will lead to the sustainability and growth of any business organization. My colleague Pius Kojobaka has more in the rest of the story.
Delivering the keynote address at the International Advertising Association Africa Rising 5 conference, which was on the theme Brands for Purpose, Brands for People, advisor to the president on media, Uboshisai Kofi, emphasized the need for brand managers to partner the education and health sectors of the economy to champion the cause of the Sustainable Development Goals.
We've spoken about the need for brands to partner on education, healthcare delivery, especially after COVID, as well as championing the SDG goals, which are relevant to strong national development. Consumers desire to see how brands are driving purpose and to see proof that it is not just a nice, slick, shiny marketing campaign, but a brand that walks the walk, talks the talk, and cares for the people, as Joel told us. One significant demographic that will be critical for the future development is the owning and usage of the large youth population, especially in Africa. Our young population is huge, dynamic, diverse, and growing so fast by the day. As experts, we need to be able to harness the power of the youth and make sure that we target them effectively in all our projects.
President and Chairman of the International Advertising Association, Joe Oneti, urged brand managers, advertisers, and marketers to remain focused and build a sustainable brand in order to remain relevant post-COVID-19.
Traditionally, it's been said that brands that are consistent in the marketplace, even through hard times, are the brands that consumers remember when they come out of the hard times. Nothing has changed. That's just facts. It's just human nature. Look at ourselves. If it is that you haven't heard of a particular brand in a year and you are looking to buy whatever it is, powdered milk, sugar, rice, whatever it is, you go to the brands that you hear of. So today you may not be able to afford, but whenever your income allows you to afford, you are going to go to the brands that you remember. So the advice to brands will always be, yes, I mean, if times are hard, it will be foolhardy to say you keep pumping money, but maintain a reasonable presence, because ultimately things are going to change.
On his part, founder and CEO of McDonald Group of Companies, Daniel Macaulay, called on brand managers to be disciplined, saying it is the surest way to building businesses in Africa.
When you talk about discipline in businesses, you realize that without business discipline, a lot of business collapse. I always attach attitude, discipline, sustainability when we want to build a stronger brand. So I have come a long way. As I keep saying that my business is really not, the problem is not about financial, but it's about human resource. Building human resource, and without discipline, how do you build a stronger human resource? I feel that talking about some of these things drive me crazy, because we have come a very long way and we keep facing the same problems in terms of human resource. So discipline is always a key when it comes to building businesses in Africa.
The International Advertising Association Africa Rising 5 conference brought together industry players in the marketing and advertising space.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, is enhancing efforts to reduce road carnages by introducing 5 innovative electronic gadgets. The technology is to check the roadworthiness of vehicles and authenticity of documents owned by road users. Here's a report.
The gadgets include handheld tablets, tire tread depth gauges, digital tape measures, tinked meters, and handheld brake testers. The handheld tablets particularly would help with verification of driver's licenses, roadworthy certificates, and registration numbers of vehicles. The introduction of the gadget would ensure compliance and enable enforcement officers to efficiently perform road checks to reduce accidents. The move is targeted at strengthening the mandate of DVLA in promoting good driving standards in Ghana and ensuring the use of roadworthy vehicles. Ashanti Regional Manager of DVLA, Amos Sabaka, believes the technology would inject efficiency in the administrative work of the authority.
After somebody does roadworthy, it will take 6 months or 1 year for them to come back. In between, even though we go on the road, we always challenge the tools and equipment that will be able to let us effectively inform the person that indeed what you are doing is contrary to the law. And so management, after a lot of deliberation, decided to acquire these handheld tools for us so that when we go on the road, this time it will not be just conjecture, where somebody will be determining based upon what they perceive. But using these handheld tools, you'll be able to directly pinpoint the problem and values. And that's why it is against the law, how it contravenes the road traffic 2180, what is required of a driver.
The office is anticipating deployment of more of such equipment in the region for efficient implementation.
There will not be enough. But Ashanti region has the highest concentration of offices in Ghana. We have about 8 district officers. No other region has that number. Even Accra has only about 3. And so that is even been more than taken care of, which means that every district will also have the same tools and equipment. And this is just for a start. Going forward, we know that eventually those from the Ashanti region will be increased or multiplied so that we will be able to do the work effectively.
They are, however, cautioning road users against possession of outdated and invalid documents. Head of Compliance and Enforcement Unit of DVLA, Richard Kwesieya, illustrated the functions of the gadget. Anita Sewajukas reports for Joy News.
And that's how we end Prime Business here on Joy News Prime. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broohm, and I leave you with internationals.